What are the uses of a check? What to do in cases a check will bounce? What remedies should be done in cases of bouncing checks? Good day friends, this is Docni, making it easy to understand the law. Aside from law, I will also be posting things about life, about people and other tips to make our life comfortable and avoid stress as much as possible. In today's discussion, I will be sharing with you all everything about BP 22 or Batas Pambansa 22, an act penalizing the making or drawing and issuance of a check without sufficient funds or credit and for other purposes. Checks is used as a substitute for money. The issuance of a checking account now is strict. It requires that for at least 6 months the applicant for a checking account is able to maintain his account before he will be allowed to open for a checking account. In fact, any correction in the check, even if countersigned, must be rejected. We have what we called rubber check, or a check with no sufficient deposit in the bank. While it is true that under our constitution there is no imprisonment because of debt, yet this provision is not violated because under BP 22 what is penalized is not the failure of paying debt but the issuance of a check that bounced. Check is commonly issued for installment transactions like in buying property. We have to remember the following elements. 1. A check was issued. 2. It bounced. 3. The drawer was notified with notice of dishonor in writing, which is considered a demand letter for him to make the necessary arrangement with the bank. And 4. Insufficiency or no deposit in the bank. The post office will make a report or certification in the registry return card that notice was delivered and received. It's a hard copy to be personally delivered to his place of business or residence or by anyone therein of legal age and discernment. The mother of a drawer so long with discernment is enough to consider that the notice has been received. Personal delivery is preferred than constructive delivery, since it can then be used as a defense that no such notification has been received. Remember that to hold him liable it should be beyond reasonable doubt. BP 22 is a criminal case. Filing fee is not required in a case of BP 22. No need to file a separate civil action because it is deemed instituted. There is also no issuance of a warrant of arrest, unless the presence in court is important. There is also no issuance of hold departure order because BP 22 is under Metropolitan Court, which has no power of issuing a hold departure order. The prescriptive period is 4 years from check date. It is a continuing crime, therefore, a case can be filed anywhere so long one of the elements of the crime was committed therein. Case can still be filed even if the issuer is already in the other country so long it was issued in the Philippines, because it is a crime against public interest and the banking system is prejudiced. The penalty will depend upon the discretion of the court whether to impose a fine, imprisonment, or both. In the case of a fine, it cannot be double of the amount, but in no case be more than 200,000 pesos. There is a presumption of bad faith once the check bounces. Under BP 22, good or bad faith is not a defense. The mere fact that you issue a worthless check, you are liable if it bounces regardless of the intent or for whatever reason for its issuance. The issuer is liable even when ordering the bank to stop payment, knowing that there is really no fund or account has been closed. The only justification to stop payment is that it was already paid. Issuer is given 5 days from receipt of the notice of dishonor to make deposit in the bank. Below 500,000, no need to file for preliminary investigation. Above 500,000 requires preliminary investigation. It is under summary proceeding or immediate determination of the case. Swindling or estafa is different from BP 22. In estafa, there is always bad faith, deceit and a criminal mind. This is when you run away from your obligation or do a misrepresentation, like in cases where you ask a money for a favor which was not realized and thus caused damage. This also applies in misrepresentation that he owned a check. The maximum penalty in estafa is 20 years. Checking account holder should have a list as to when he needs to have an amount deposited before the check becomes due. He should be responsible check holder. This is because a check form the nature of a contract. He should maintain fund in the bank within 90 days from check date. Check becomes stale if it was not deposited within 6 months. Then, it will not anymore be accepted by the bank. In the case of cross checks it is for deposit only. Let's now end our discussion. Until then, please do subscribe to the channel so you will be notified for the next discussion. God bless everyone.